12 money principles that will completely change how you think about wealth. What if the biggest reason people struggle with money isn't lack of intelligence or lack of opportunity? What if the real problem is something far more invisible? Your psychology. Most people assume financial success is about math, budgets, spreadsheets, interest rates, and investment returns. But in reality, money is far more emotional than mathematical. Our beliefs, fears, past experiences, and habits shape nearly every financial decision we make. In this video, we're going to explore 12 powerful principles about money and human behavior. These ideas have quietly shaped the financial lives of millions of people, often without them realizing it. Some of these lessons may challenge the way you currently think about wealth. Some may even make you a little uncomfortable. But if you truly understand them, they can completely change how you approach money for the rest of your life. Let's start with the first principle. Lesson 1. Nobody is truly irrational with money. It's easy to look at someone else's financial decisions and think they're crazy. Maybe someone bought a stock at the peak of a hype cycle. Maybe someone keeps gambling on lottery tickets. Maybe someone sold all their investments the moment the market dropped. From the outside, those choices look irrational. But here's the surprising truth. Most people aren't irrational with money. They're simply reacting to their own experiences. Every person grows up with a completely different financial environment. Some people grow up in families where money is always scarce. Others see their parents invest confidently. Some people watch their families lose everything during a financial crisis. These early experiences quietly shape our beliefs about money. A person who grew up during economic instability might prioritize saving cash above all else. Someone who experienced years of booming markets might feel comfortable taking big investment risks. In reality, each person is responding to the tiny slice of economic reality they've personally experienced. Understanding this changes something important. Instead of judging other people's financial behavior, you begin asking a much more powerful question. What experiences shaped my own beliefs about money? Because those beliefs are often driving your decisions more than you realize. Lesson 2. The importance of defining what enough looks like. One of the most dangerous financial traps is surprisingly simple: never deciding what enough looks like. Many people spend their entire lives chasing financial goals that constantly move further away. First, the goal is earning a certain salary. Then it becomes earning twice that amount. Then it becomes reaching a certain net worth. Then the target keeps moving again. Without defining a clear point where you have enough, the pursuit of wealth can sometimes become endless. The problem is that once your lifestyle grows, it becomes difficult to step back. The bigger house needs a larger mortgage. The luxury car requires expensive payments. The upgraded lifestyle demands a constantly increasing income. Meanwhile, the sense of satisfaction never fully arrives. People who understand the concept of enough approach wealth very differently. Instead of endlessly chasing more, they focus on protecting what they already have and building a life that actually brings them fulfillment. Ambition isn't the problem, but without a clear definition of enough, ambition can easily turn into a never-ending race. Lesson 3. Compounding rewards patience more than intelligence. In our culture, we love stories about brilliant investors who make bold decisions and become wealthy overnight. But real wealth building usually looks much less exciting. It often comes down to one simple concept: compounding. Compounding allows money to grow not just from the original investment, but also from the returns generated over time. At first, the growth seems slow, but over long periods, it becomes incredibly powerful. The key ingredient isn't genius, it's time. Someone who invests modest amounts consistently over many years can build substantial wealth. Meanwhile, someone who constantly jumps between investments, searching for the next big opportunity, often ends up disrupting the very process that builds wealth. Compounding doesn't reward cleverness as much as it rewards patience. And patience, unfortunately, is something many investors struggle with. Lesson 4. Financial plans should expect failure. No matter how carefully you plan your finances, unexpected events will occur. Markets crash, jobs disappear, emergencies happen. Many people design financial strategies that assume everything will go perfectly. But the most resilient financial plans assume the opposite. They prepare for disruptions. This is where things like emergency funds become incredibly important. An emergency fund might seem boring because it doesn't generate impressive returns, but it performs a different role. It protects you from being forced into bad financial decisions during difficult moments. When something unexpected happens, having reserves allows you to adapt without destroying your long-term strategy. In many ways, financial strength isn't about maximizing returns. It's about creating systems that can survive uncertainty. Lesson 5. Real financial discipline looks unremarkable. When people imagine financial brilliance, they often imagine complex strategies or bold investment decisions. But the reality is usually much simpler. Many financially successful individuals follow routines that look incredibly ordinary. They invest regularly, they avoid chasing trends, they stay calm during market downturns. From the outside, this approach may appear boring, but over long periods, boring discipline consistently outperforms emotional decision-making. The challenge is psychological. Human instincts push us to follow the crowd, react to fear, and chase excitement. Resisting those instincts for decades is what separates successful long-term investors from everyone else. Lesson 6. Wealth is really about freedom. Many people think the purpose of money is simply to accumulate as much of it as possible. But for many financially independent individuals, the real goal of wealth is something entirely different: freedom. Freedom to choose how you spend your time. Freedom to walk away from situations that make you unhappy. Freedom to focus on meaningful work rather than simply chasing a paycheck. Ironically, people who constantly upgrade their lifestyles often reduce their own freedom. Higher expenses create financial obligations that lock them into certain careers and income levels. Meanwhile, someone with a modest lifestyle and lower financial commitments may have far greater flexibility. Wealth, in this sense, is less about luxury and more about options. Lesson 7. People care less about your possessions than you think. Many purchases are influenced by the desire to impress others. But here's something interesting about human psychology. When someone sees an expensive car or luxury item, they often imagine themselves owning it. They admire the object, not necessarily the person. This means people frequently spend large amounts of money trying to signal success to others who aren't actually paying that much attention. True wealth is often invisible. It exists in savings accounts, investments, and financial security that outsiders rarely see. And ironically, people who quietly build wealth often appear far less flashy than those trying to look wealthy. Lesson 8. Wealth depends more on saving than earning. Increasing income is important, but income alone doesn't determine financial success. What matters even more is how much of that income you keep. Someone with a moderate salary who saves consistently can build significant wealth over time. Meanwhile, someone with a very high income but extremely high spending may accumulate very little. Financial progress depends on the gap between earnings and expenses, and even small improvements in that gap can create massive long-term effects when compounded. Lesson 9. Staying invested beats perfect timing. Many investors try to predict exactly when markets will rise or fall, but consistently timing the market is extremely difficult. Historical data shows a clear pattern. The longer someone remains invested, the higher the likelihood of positive returns. Short-term fluctuations are unpredictable, but long-term trends tend to reward patience. Investors who constantly move money in and out of markets often miss important periods of growth. Sometimes the best strategy is simply remaining invested long enough for long-term trends to work in your favor. Lesson 10. Market volatility is the price of growth. Investing inevitably involves uncertainty. Markets rise and fall. Prices fluctuate. Many people view this volatility as a problem, but it can also be seen differently. Volatility is essentially the price investors pay for long-term growth. Without risk and uncertainty, the potential for significant returns would not exist. Understanding this can help investors react more calmly during market downturns. Instead of seeing fluctuations as disasters, they can be seen as a normal part of the investment journey. Lesson 11. Financial advice must be personal. There is no universal financial strategy that works for everyone. Each person has unique circumstances. Age, family responsibilities, career stability, goals, and personality all influence what financial decisions make sense. Advice that works perfectly for a young investor may not work for someone approaching retirement. Similarly, strategies that suit high-risk personalities may feel uncomfortable for others. The most effective financial plan is one that fits your specific situation. Lesson 12. Simplicity often outperforms complexity. Many people assume successful investing requires complex strategies, but surprisingly, simple approaches often produce better results. Consistent investing in broad market funds over long periods has historically outperformed many complex strategies. Complexity often introduces higher costs, mistakes, and emotional decisions. Simplicity makes it easier to stay disciplined, and discipline is often the most important ingredient in long-term investing success. The hidden truth about money. All of these lessons point to a deeper realization. Money is not just a numbers game, it's a behavioral game. Fear, greed, ego, and social pressure influence financial decisions far more than spreadsheets do. People who build lasting wealth usually understand this psychological dimension. They design habits and systems that help them stay consistent even when emotions try to interfere. In the end, wealth rarely comes from one brilliant decision. Instead, it comes from making reasonable decisions consistently over long periods of time. And while that approach may not sound exciting, it works.